Hi guys, welcome back to the Driveway Engineer. I'm JR and it's Tuesday. So I'm going to go ahead and say welcome to Gunmetal Customs. And I know a lot of you are interested in what's going on in the shop, what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, you know, what I'm using, etc., etc. Either you just find it interesting or maybe you would like to start a business yourself. So I thought that on Tuesdays I would show you guys some of what I'm doing. And since this is the first one, I'm going to go ahead and show you right from the start what I'm doing. I got my computer set up over there. I don't think that shelf's going to stay, or it's not going to stay like that. I have decisions to make still in how some of this stuff goes. But I'm going to go ahead and get that sheet off the table. My table can handle... I can pass through that way via index cutting forever. I can take a 48-inch wide sheet. But what I do for most stuff, unless somebody commissions a 5-foot long sign for their business or whatever, I just have the steel yard cut it into 32-inch lengths. So they can cut a 4x8 sheet into 32-inch lengths 3 times, and it works out that it fits perfectly on my table. So I cut a Sasquatch out of that. It ate most of the sheet. I'm going to take that sheet off. I'm going to throw another sheet up there and show you guys right from the start how I do this, and we'll go through the day. So before I get the sheet up here, I want to show you guys the table itself. You notice it's frozen. It's 29 degrees outside right now. It was like 12 for a couple days. It's cold. There's nothing in here but water and borax to stop the slats from rusting like crazy. The table itself is stainless. And then as far as additives go, you'll find people, if you're looking into this, you'll find people putting all kinds of red, blue, green shit. All that happens is that torch blows down and metal sprays out, right? A plasma works just like a welder, except instead of feeding wire in, it blows air through and it blows the material away instead of fusing it together. So all this table does, it doesn't interact with the machine in any way. This water doesn't go through anything. It's not cooling anything. All it does is catch those sparks and that metal that sprays down, and it all sits in the bottom. Every once in a while, I clean mine out. I throw all my scrap in there. I don't know, there's some dross at the bottom. It just catches it and it keeps the smoke down, and that's all it does. So I don't really care if it freezes. Like 2 or 3 cuts into this, it's going to be thawed. So I'm going to throw a sheet up here. I have like a bunch of stuff to cut, and we'll go over the software. Well, we won't go over it. I'll just show you and familiarize you with it, and we'll go from there. So the sheet's up there. You see I ground directly to the metal. Some people ground to their table, which would then ground through the slats. I just ground directly to the steel. I used to, when I first started, I was really tearing myself up making sure this was square and tramming it, which means running the torch back and forth. But now I just put it on this slat and square it to that. The software for my table is called Fire Control. I'm going to try to get everything in the shot here. This comes with a Langmuir table. It's pretty nice. It does some neat stuff. You can jog the table around with it. One thing that it does that's really nice is you can do what's called a continuous cut. Or a straight cut. See down here? I can turn that on, and if the steel yard didn't want to cut my steel for me, I can pass it through with this straight cut. It'll generate a little blurb of G code. So X is left and right, Y is back and forth, and Z is up and down. I can tell it cut X to the right, and then give it the length and the cut speed, and it will generate a little piece of code to do that. It'll fire the torch and it'll run it across, or it'll do it that way. It would be neat if they do other simple shapes, like squares and circles, so that I don't have to do that. But still, this is nice. When I cut the steel for my oven over there, when I was cutting that, I was passing it through and just doing straight cuts. I started out with a shear and like a board, and it wasn't worth it. So we'll take a detour here on the PC. We'll minimize fire control. What I use to generate my G-code. G-code is the programming that you need to run the table. It's a CNC, so it runs on M and G code. If you're familiar with that, if you're a machinist, it's the same M and G codes that you're familiar with. M codes, the higher ones, are proprietary. You know that if you're a machinist. But G codes are universal, and it's the same G0 for rapid, G01 for move. You know, same stuff that you know. I use, so like with a CNC machine, you'd use like Gibbs Cam or Master Cam or whatever. I don't know. It's been years since I've been a journeyman, but that's what we used to use. And for this, I use sheet cam. It's sheet metal. I'm using sheet cam. It's pretty straightforward. I'll do an example real quick, just for the hell of it. You just import your drawing that you've already drawn up. I use Inkscape to do like flat stuff. I'm not going to get into that today. I'm going to pull up, what do we got here? I've designed a lot of things. I'm pretty sure that I waited for months for this, so I designed like just loads and loads and loads of stuff. But yeah, I have some LS mounts here. These are like the generic find the dimensions anywhere mounts. So it imports it. If you saw that little grid, I was doing other stuff, so I told it to put it in the upper right corner. So that's where it's at on the sheet. This sheet represents that sheet. I set it up with the same dimensions. So I already have my tools set up over here. I'm going to double click this as a 14 gauge. It has all the specs in there I want to use for 14 gauge. And then I click create an operation. You have to go up here, select a layer, layer 0 from there. I know I'm blowing through this and you don't understand it. If there's actual interest, we can go over it in more depth. But you click OK. You click up here, run post processor, and it will generate a G code. Save. Then you go back to fire control and you import your G code. There it is, LS mounts. You see, there it is. It'll actually try to start that up in the upper corner. This doesn't have limit switches and it doesn't know anything. So what you do have to do is bring it down here in Y towards you. And you have to watch. There's no, because you can just bounce it right off here. So you can slow it down. All right, we're there. We're there, but we're past the end of the sheet, so it doesn't matter. But we'll just bump it back. I'll bring it down in Z. And now I'll start scooting it in X. And the stop there is that hex bolt. Or the corner of the material, whichever one comes up first. So, now that I have this in the corner, I don't really. I'm going to slow this and bump it a little more. That's pretty close to the corner. You don't want to waste material. That's the point of doing this. So I'll go up here and hit 0 all axis. And this is now my home spot. So when I click go, it should go up there to the upper corner, but it has what they call dry run, and I don't actually want to cut these. So I'm going to turn the dry run on. And in dry run, it doesn't do Z. It won't do up and down. I use this to make sure, to make double certain that a new design isn't running off the sheet and ruining it. So you can click start on your dry run. And it should head over there and pretend cut motor mounts. And you can follow along here, and I can see that it's actually going to be off the sheet. So I'd have to rectify that. And that's what dry run is for. I'm going to stop it. All right, I'm going to, well, I'm actually going to load up the program I actually want to run, and I'll bring you guys back somewhere in the middle of that. All right, I figured out that's not 32 inches, so can't trust the steel yard. I gotta double check. I got my Hobart. These are like level 5 tint or something. I don't know. They're plasma cutting glasses. I have the actual program loaded up that I'm gonna cut. These two signs are already sold. I've re-zeroed my axes. We're gonna go ahead and put my glasses on before I blind myself. I want you guys to notice that this sheet metal is warped up. And we'll hit start. So it's gonna take off, it touches, then it starts cutting. Now it knows where zero's at. This is cutting at 125 inches a minute. You can see on the screen, stupid bright, right? You can see on the screen where it's cutting. The orange lines are cut lines, and then they disappear as it travels through. So, and then you can see the G code running down here. Like I said, it's standard G code. So I'll bring you guys back when this is a little more further along. So first of all, Scott, thank you for your purchase. Second of all, you can see it's moved on from the Charger over to the Jeep flag. That's the other thing Scott bought. When I catch these, this is a tip up. And my torch head can catch that, and it can kind of screw the process up. You see how close I got to the edge here? As close as I possibly could. You know, you don't want to waste any material. Like this part is a bit of a bummer. I probably can't cut anything here. I'll probably wind up scrapping it. But we're on to the Jeep. It does this automatically. I don't have to do anything. Air compressors out there keeping up. Oh, if you're curious, at the bottom, there's a counter for how many pierces, which is how many times it fires that torch. I'm getting about 500 pierces per set of consumables before I feel like I need to change them, which isn't very many. I don't have dry air. With dry air, people are saying they're getting 1,500, 2,000. We'll see. I have my Hankinson air dryer, big industrial deal that I have to go get from the in-laws. I mean, honestly, they're $5 a set. I don't really care that they last 500 pierces. But 4 times as long would be nice, and I did pay for the thing. I own it, so why not get it, right? Pretty much, I don't really have to do anything here until it's done, so I will bring you guys back when it's done. All right, so while that cut, I worked on my oven. You don't really have to stand there and babysit it much. This one is the back side, or it's the front side. A liar. No, that's the front side. This is the back side of the Charger, and it's cleaned up. You see there's a little bit of dross where it blew through. You see that the hole's a little bit bigger than the cut line. That's where it leads in. This is the back side of the Jeep. You see it's covered. Well, it's not covered. It's pretty good. But it's got dross. It's rusty from the water and the heat cooked the mill scale off of it. Not all of the stars cut all the way out. It's just, all I do is run over it with that wire wheel and it'll clean right up. So this is a magnetic chuck. These are for surface grinders, and if you're not aware, a surface grinder is basically a machine with a wheel, a grinding wheel, and it goes and it just passes and grinds something perfectly smooth and flat. And the reason that you use a magnetic chuck, there's a magnet in here. When you throw this over, the magnets go up and then it holds the steel down, because you can't do toe clamps like this. If you did that, the wheel would hit it and you wreck your shit. So you got to hold it from the bottom, and this is great for it. So way better than the sketchy shit that when I was doing the F-bomb, I had the grinder in there, and I mean it worked, but If I saw somebody doing that in a plan, I'd lose my shit. So this is much better. Pretty expensive, but better. So that's pretty much it for the day. I'm going to clean these up. I'm going to get them packaged. I'm going to get them sent off to Scott. He paid for them. They're his. Next week, you guys, I've been commissioned to do a custom sign, a lighted sign for a barbecue joint. I'm excited to do that. If there's anything I can help you with here at Gunmetal Customs, let me know. If the thing that I can help you with is ripping off somebody else's design and then cutting it for you, like, that's not a thing that I'm going to help you with. If I'm going to steal somebody's intellectual property, then I'm just going to sell it for full price. Like, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying, if I was, like, why would you think you'd pay me any less than you pay them? Same as everything, right? I'm just stupid old JR out here working for free, I guess. But I hope you guys enjoyed seeing. I mean, there's not much to it. It's just, you know, a few steps and you got a sign. Next week, I'll show you guys, like I said, I'm doing the barbecue sign, and it'll be lighted. It's 2 layers. It'll be a front and a back with lights in the middle. I'll show you guys how I did the design and how I cut it, everything else. So thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think of these videos down below, and we'll see you next time on The Driveway Engineer.